Hey guys, and welcome back to my English brain. Today we're talking about how much versus how many and quantifiers. Alright guys, let's get started. This is Michael. He's texting his friend Rob to tell him about his new apartment and the neighborhood he's living in. Let's listen to their conversation.
Hey, Mike! So, how's the new apartment?
Hey Brian, it's good. I love the neighborhood over here. There are a lot of cool places over here.
How many restaurants are there?
There are a few good ones close by. I went to a good sushi restaurant yesterday.
Is there much crime?
There isn't much, actually. It's a really safe neighborhood.
How many parks are in the area?
There aren't many, unfortunately. The closest one is kind of far away.
Is there much traffic in front of your house?
There's a little. I live on a pretty quiet street.
Well, it sounds nice. When are you gonna invite people over to see it?
Yeah, I'm thinking about this weekend actually. Are you busy then? 'Cause I was thinking about getting people together on Saturday. Okay, and now it's time for today's grammar. And before we start the grammar, it's important to look at these different types of nouns. We have non-count nouns and count nouns. Now, to remember, a non-count noun cannot be plural. We use it like a singular noun. But count nouns can be plural. They can be singular or plural. But count nouns have the possibility to be plural. And this is important for today's grammar. So, let's look at some examples of non-count nouns. Crime is a non-count noun. Traffic is a non-count noun. Pollution is a non-count noun. Public transportation is a non-count noun. And noise is also a non-count noun. Notice we cannot make these words plural. We always use them in the singular form. Now, examples of count nouns. For example, parks. Notice it's plural. It can be singular, but it can also be plural. So it's a count noun. Also, restaurants is a count noun. Businesses is a count noun. Bus stops is a count noun. And cars is a count noun. So, remember, non-count nouns cannot be plural. We use them like they are singular. Count nouns have the potential, the possibility to be plural. So, we've looked at some city vocabulary for non-count nouns and count nouns. Here are some more words related to the city with non-count nouns and other count nouns related to the city. Take a moment to look at the ones that you don't recognize as count nouns and non-count nouns. Okay, today's grammar is quantifiers. And quantifiers, it's important to know what is a non-count noun and what is a count noun. First, let's look at the non-count nouns. For example, much. Much is a quantifier we use for non-count nouns. We also have a lot of, a little, not much, not any, and none. These are quantifiers for non-count nouns. Now it's time for the count nouns. We have many, a lot of, a few, not many, not any, and none. Now, let's look. The ones that are different. Much is for non-count nouns, and many is for count nouns. We also have a little for non-count nouns, and a few for count nouns. Also, not much for non-count nouns, and not many for the count nouns. The ones they have in common are a lot of and a lot of, not any, none, and none. So the ones to remember are the ones that are different. Much, many, a little, a few, not much, and not many. Now it's time to look at the quantifiers and the non-count nouns and the count nouns together. Let's look at the non-count nouns first. When we ask the question about the quantity or the amount of a non-count noun, for example, crime, we use the quantifier much. How much is asking about the quantity of the non-count noun crime. How much crime is there? Notice I use the singular form of is there because crime is a non-count noun. So, only use much for the non-count noun in the question. When we answer the question, we use the singular form there is and the quantifier. For example, there is a lot of crime, or there is a little crime, there is not much crime, there isn't any crime, but be careful with none. When we use none, we do not use the noun. For example, how much crime is there? There is none. We do not use the noun, only the quantifier none. Very good. Now time for the count nouns. In the question, when we want to know the quantity or the amount of a count noun, for example, parks, we use the quantifier many. How many parks are there? Notice the plural form because parks is plural. Only use many for the question when you're asking about the quantity of a count noun. When we answer the question, again, we use the plural form there are and the quantifiers. For example, how many parks are there? There are a lot of parks. Or, there are a few parks. There are not many parks. There aren't any parks. And again, be careful with none, because when we use none, we do not use the noun. We only use the quantifier. How many parks are there? There are none. So, to review, when we ask the question about a non-count noun, for example, crime, we use how much. How much we only use for non-count nouns. When we ask the question about quantity for a count noun, for example, parks, we use how many. How many is only for the count nouns. The other quantifiers, for example, a lot of, not any, none, and none, we can use both for non-count nouns and count nouns. The other quantifiers that are specific are a little and not much are only for non-count nouns. A few and not many are only for the count nouns. Very good. Okay, now it's time to practice. To practice, pick the correct quantifier. For example, how much pollution is there? How much pollution is there? There is a little pollution, because there are only a few cars. There's a little pollution because there are only a few cars. How many people do you live with? How many people do you live with? I only live with a few roommates because there's only a little space. I only live with a few roommates because there's only a little space. How much money do you pay for rent? How much money do you pay for rent? I don't pay much. I don't pay much. I pay a little less than at my old apartment. I pay a little less than at my old apartment. How many businesses are close to your house? How many businesses are close to your house? There are a lot of businesses on my street, so there is a lot of noise. Remember, with count and non-count nouns, we can use a lot of. Repeat. There are a lot of businesses on my street, so there's a lot of noise. Alright, great job, guys. So that's it for today's lesson, and thanks for coming to my English Brain. Remember, if you like the lesson, share it with your friends, family, and classmates. For more videos, subscribe to the channel, and for more practice with how much and how many, go to the website, myenglishbrain.com. Don't forget the next video. He has long red hair. Describing people. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and good luck.